The engine bay is torn apart, the standalone is in, but first we got to get the power situation sorted out, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage, and today we are going to dive in on doing a battery relocate. And in fact, I got an Optima Yellow Top sitting here ready to go along with ICT's Billet battery relocation bracket. We're going to end up throwing this thing in the trunk, and the main reason behind that is back there in the corner where the battery normally sits, I need the real estate so I can mount all the new electronics and stuff, and we've got plenty of room in the trunk, and there's just, you know, it's an easy project to do. So basically, hold on a second. So basically what we're wanting to do is, I've got one of the nice made in the USA 2-gauge battery relocation kits. It's got like 15 or 20 foot of positive battery cable and then another 5 foot of negative to go down to the chassis and tie that in. We're going to go back into the trunk, find a location where we can mount our battery tray, run some bolts through the floorboard of the trunk. So we'll have to get up underneath there, make sure that we're not going to drill into anything. And then we've got some bolts with some big fender washers to go up underneath there to make sure that that thing stays in place. And then we'll run the cables down through. There's a cubby in the back passenger side that drops down underneath the car that we can knock a hole through real easy. And in fact, I'm going to mount the transmission controller in that cubby whenever it's all said and done. And so that'll be our pass-through for any wiring and things like that. On top of it, we're going to go ahead and put a fuse box back there, just a little 6 fuser, and it'll have a trigger wire that comes up front that's tied into an ignition source, so it's only on whenever power's on, and that way we'll have power back there for the TCM and any other devices that we may need to throw back there in the future. So that being said, let's go ahead and get the trunk open, take a look at what's going on, and we'll go from there. Okay, hopefully you can see everything all right. There's a good chance this trunk is hydraulically opened, and with the hydraulic system off right now, and in fact it's low on hydraulic fluid, I can't promise that the gas struts on these alone are going to keep this thing up while we're in the process. So if the camera goes crazy, you'll know why. But on the XLR, this divider determines whether or not the roof can come down. So whenever this thing's down, it's got some micro switches in it that read that this is down, so you can store things up underneath there, and it goes quite a ways back deep in there, but it won't let the top come down. So we want to make sure for now that we can still bring this top down, but we're perfectly fine. We seem to have enough room underneath here, even whenever we get the plate mounted up in here, to get the battery in here, get terminal covers on there, everything will be good there. And then over here we have this cubby. There's a cover normally on top of this thing that drops down. Nice little area. So the idea is whenever we get done, we'll do some notches in here or something, come off the batteries, come straight down into the side, and mount the battery that way. So the big thing, as I said, let me grab the plate. Go ahead and move this out of the way because we know where it goes. The big thing, as I said, is getting this plate mounted up, and we're going to want to mount it that way. Right about there, I think. So I'm going to get underneath the car, verify that we have nothing that we're going to drill into whenever we drill through this. We'll drill straight down, run the bolts down. Oh, there she goes. I warned you. I warned you it was going to happen. We will drill straight down through here, run some bolts through. I've got nylon lock nuts that I'm going to be putting on here to keep this thing locked down in place with the big fender washers. As I said, this thing won't go anywhere once it's all said and done. So let me go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to find something to try and prop this thing open so it doesn't keep on dropping on our heads while we're working here. Stay. So there is a section of frame right beside this panel. We need to set it off 5 inches from the panel. Let me go ahead and open our base up here. And then other than that, we're clear. There's some exhaust. The mufflers are down there. Not super worried about that. We'll go ahead and go back 5.5 just to be sure. Then let's square this thing up, make it look nice. Move this stuff out of the way and let's verify that this thing will close. Okay, I think we got our location. So now all there is to do is drill her out. Go ahead and drill us a pilot hole. Hopefully the carpet doesn't go too crazy on this. Bingo. Fiberglass, baby. And heat shield. Okay, they all went through. That's the good news. The bad news is they're not long enough. What did I get, 2-inch? I need probably at least 3-inch. By the time they get through all the fiberglass and the heat shield that's underneath, they're just not quite there. So, that being said, I guess it's time to make a run to Lowe's, get some longer ones. Okay, so they were out of every single cap bolt longer than 2 inches. None. No stainless, no nothing. So I ended up getting some stainless hex. 2.5, hopefully they'll be long enough. If not, I'm going to bed. Man, that one's tight. Not that that's a problem. Okay, I'm going to button this up real quick, get this battery mounted, and then we're going to start running the cables. Okay, we got her mounted down nice and tight. She is not going anywhere. Man, that is a gorgeous looking bracket. I'm in love already. I guess we can double check and make sure. Hey, everything looks good. Got plenty of room. I think. 10-pound bottle. What do you guys think? Put a 10-pound bottle right beside it? Probably not enough room for a 15. Okay, so let's tear this thing open, see what we're working with here. See with what we're working with here. So we got to get the red wire from here all the way to the front where the old battery was, which was just in front of the passenger side door. Not a big ordeal. And then the black wire we're going to take down straight underneath, and we will self-tap it into the frame with a big old self-tap screw. So I'm going to dive underneath here, go ahead and drill a hole, pass-through hole, probably hit it with a unibit to make it big enough to get everything through there, including the harness for the transmission controller. So let me grab that, take a look at it. I'll be honest with you, this thing, connector is big enough on this thing that I'm probably going to have to, I've got a grommet on the way. It's probably not going to be big enough to fit in the grommet. 1.5 inches, but it would still be a tight fit to get that through even on an 1.5 inch hole. It's 19 wires. I really don't want to repin it. 18 wires from the looks of it, but I think I'm probably going to have to repin it. But basically this will go underneath, plugged into the transmission. All this other stuff, throttle position. I don't think I need throttle position on this one. CAN bus connector I'll need for programming. Never mind, there's the programming cable here. It's a different CAN bus connector. There's not a whole lot that I have to hook into this thing other than eventually power and ground. And then I'm hoping to hide all the excess down in this cubby and build a little cover or something to put the transmission controller in there, and then whenever all is said and done, we'll have this nice cover that goes over that, and I'll punch a couple holes through this and run the wires through. The cool thing about it is these wires have wing nuts on them, so I can drill holes in this and actually run the wires up through the cover, and then I can just move the cover out of the way as I need to. But if I ever have to take it off, I can just take these wing nuts off the battery terminals and pull them through. So that's going to work real nice. Let's take this out of there before I forget and end up running a unibit through it. Okay, let's dive underneath the car. Okay, so I couldn't get my drill in here, so I ended up having to go with 1.25 inches with a 90-degree adapter on it, unfortunately, but we'll make it work. I'm just going to have to de-pin that connector. Got my safety glasses on here. Let's open up a hole. Bingo, there we go. Good old fiberglass, she's easy to punch through. Okay, I'm gonna go up and feed the wires down. Got a pretty decent size self-tapper that we're gonna end up running through for the ground. And it looks like I might need a washer still. Probably just do her right about in this area. I'm gonna go ahead and drill a pilot hole though, just to make my life a little bit easier. Okay. Okay, that is not going anywhere. Okay, we got a good ground. Now we got to feed this red cable down, our power cable, figure out where we're going to run this thing. Okay, so we got her up out of the way where it's not going to interfere with any suspension components. Got it zip tied up, fed into the rocker, goes all the way down to the front fender. You can kind of see it there, but other than that spot where you can see it in front of that front jack stand, it's enclosed everywhere, so we shouldn't have any issues with it going down through there. I'm going to trim up these. Oh, sorry about that. Zip ties here, and then we'll move up front. Okay, got some sweet, awesome fiberglass in my fingers right now. Gotta love that. I do not have a splice pack big enough for this right now, so I'm just going to bolt this to the existing terminal. And then I will use some of the rubber insulation tape on here until I can get a splice pack big enough to splice these two together. If I can get this nut off. I'm going to use a little bit of regular electrical tape here just to kind of dull the sharp edges that's going to be on this connection, and then I'll hit it with this rubber insulation tape and give it a good wrap. This will just make sure it doesn't poke through this insulation tape. Let's go ahead and tape over the end here. And I'm using a little bit better quality rubber insulation tape for this than I used on the fittings for the cam sensor, which was cheap AutoZone crap. Shouldn't have bought it. I mean, it's cheap, but it's 10 bucks a roll cheap, if you know what I'm saying. So with this stuff, you want to get a good stretch on it. That's what helps keep this stuff weather tight. And keep stretching it the whole time you wrap. And it's basically heat shrink. In fact, a lot of places will call it heat shrink tape. And then I'm going to do the same thing where I cut a couple more pieces off here. It sticks to itself. Sticks real good, in fact. I'm going to fold over the end with a couple pieces. Okay. Okay, what do you think? There she is in all her glory. Clear some of this trash out of the way. Not bad, huh? I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Okay, let's do a wrap up. Okay, I didn't get as much done tonight as I wanted to, but we got the battery relocation done, and I think it looks pretty good. I think it's going to work nice. It's out of the way. We've got all that spare room in the engine bay now, so we can start mocking up the Holly, get that thing mounted, and start landing all of the terminations. Did figure out what was going on the throttle body connector. Bought the wrong adapter. I've got the right one coming. It'll be here Friday, and the cool thing about it is I'm off Friday. So Friday's going to be a big day for us. We're going to get a lot of stuff done. I don't even know if this video will be out before Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday, which means the live show. So that's it. If you got any questions, hit me up. I'm going to post links down in the description to the battery bracket, the relocation kit, all that stuff. I'll throw it down there. If you have any other questions though, hit up the comments. And as always, thanks for stopping by the garage. Oh yeah, ABT, always be tuning.